Hello, good day, and welcome back to Chats with Nads. How are you? How are you, lovely people? How have you been doing? How are you continuing to manage with lockdown? What do you think? Today we are going to be talking hobbies. Now, Chats with Nads is simply meant just to come on, pop on, have a chat. What's going on? What's going on in your life? How are you managing lockdown? How are you coping? What are the things that you're doing to get by and to be able to stay happy and joyful during these unprecedented times? Now, if you're new to my channel, my name is Mrs. Nadine Canaville and I am happily married. I've got 5 lovely children and I usually do beauty box unboxings, and I've recently started doing like shopping hauls. What have I gotten from Poundland or wherever I am able to go to do my essential shops, because we're only meant to be leaving for essential items. But the fantastic thing is that lots of the stores that we go to that sell essential items also sell other items that you can purchase. So it's absolutely fantastic because I shop at Lidl, Aldi, Morrison's, Asda's, Tesco's, Poundland, One Below, Home Bargains, B&M. I've not been able to get to quite a few of those shops since the lockdown, but if I'm able to, I'll pop on and show you what I've managed to get and the items that I am getting, other than the things that you need for like toiletries and groceries and all of that stuff. So today I just wanted to chat a bit about hobbies. You know, what hobbies have you taken up since lockdown? Are there some hobbies that you used to do when you were a child that you stopped doing just because of life gets busy, and that you've now taken back up since being on lockdown to keep you busy and to keep you occupied, keep your minds, working and functioning and going? So I know I've been trying to find hobbies for myself and my children. Years ago, I did loads of crafting. When I had only 3 children, I used to craft a lot. But when my 2 younger ones were born, I didn't craft so much. I used to do like decorations for people's weddings, like go and set up for their weddings or their parties, 50th birthday, funeral receptions, different stuff like that. But as I got more of my children, that became more difficult, and I really wanted to focus on looking after them and being there for them and supporting them. So all of that kind of stuff, I used to do it like as a hobby, do it for my friends and family and stuff like that. So now that we've been on lockdown, I have been able to do more of my crafting and DIYing and hobbies and stuff like that, which has been really fantastic. Over the years, my Christmas addiction has just mushroomed and grown and blossomed, and I love Christmas. And when it's close to Christmas time, I do Christmas big. I do lots of crafts, handmade trees. I'm usually looking for how to do handmade Christmas decorations and stuff like that, getting inspiration from different places. I love Kirsty's Handmade Christmas. I have watched that for years and I've got so much inspiration on making Christmas DIYs, handmade Christmas decorations and craft that I have made for my family, my mom, my adopted mom, my aunts, family members, friends. I'll post them out to anybody who fancies having one. So I've been doing it at Christmas time, but throughout the rest of the year, not so much. So being on lockdown because of this pandemic and having to stay at home, it's had one positive. I've got more time to get back into my crafts. So scouring YouTube, I found so many ideas. And even though at Easter time I would get out my Easter cards and send out and I do like Easter bonnets for the children or Easter hats and stuff like that, little crafts, because I've always crafted with the children and I've always maintained that. But just like to decorate the home. I never really tried decorating my home for Easter, but this year, as we were going into lockdown, I decided, I was watching a few YouTube videos and I saw that people really went all out decorating their homes for Easter, because I only went crazy at Christmas time with decorating. So I popped out to the range and I got some stuff from Poundland and a few bits and bobs from different places. There's a florist shop called Whittington's Floral Sundries close enough to me, so before lockdown was initiated I popped there and I picked up a few stuff from there as well. So this year I went all out and I decorated for Easter. So that has really helped me because I was able to re-engage with that lovely hobby of crafting, and my house looked really lovely. We really felt like Easter, and I've transitioned from Easter to spring, and that hobby was really fantastic. So I've been encouraging my children to get into hobbies. Now my husband, he plays music. He plays the bass guitar, he plays the guitar. Our house is full of instruments. He plays the piano, he can play the drums. So he's been, you know, really getting back into that love of music, and he has so much time now, so you can often hear him strumming away, practicing his bass guitar, just playing music. He plays his music videos on YouTube and plays along with his instruments. And I have been trying to encourage my eldest daughter. She's into drawing and arts and all of that lot. All of my children are at home, so you can hear one of them calling me. So she does like art and drawing, and she's also started like writing. My 14-year-old, she's into drawing and art as well, and she's writing short stories, loads. So that's the hobby that she's taken up. My 17-year-old, she's into makeup, beauty therapy. So she has been, you know, she'll get all made up, like proper made up, and that's her hobby. She's doing her makeup. I've been trying to find hobbies for my son and my daughter, my youngest daughter, so that's my 9-year-old and my 5-year-old. So do you have any tips or any ideas on hobbies that I can get them? Because I know when I was younger, when I was a little girl, I used to do stamp collecting. I loved collecting stamps, and my mom used to get her friends that lived overseas to pop stamps when they were posting letters, because back then letters were a thing. We used to have like pen pals that we would write to, and we would communicate like that. So I had a few pen pals and I'd get them to send me stamps, and my mom would get her friends to send stamps, and I had a lovely stamp collection. Now moving from the Caribbean, which is where I was born in Montserrat, and I lived in Antigua. Antigua is where I lived and worked and met my husband. And I also, at one point in my life, I lived in Canada with my mom. Go to dad, sweetheart. Sorry, go to dad, sweetheart. For a few years, I lived in Canada, and I went to secondary school. Part of my secondary school life in Canada, I think I did grade 1 and 2 in Canada too, because I lived in Canada as a child, went and lived in Antigua, and then I went back to Canada for some of my later schooling secondary years. So I have lived a few places. I've had a really interesting and enjoyable life. Maybe one of these times on Chats with Nads, I'll tell you, you know, a little bit about my story. And so with all of that, I've had different hobbies throughout my life. I used to like collecting shells in the Caribbean, because every time we'd go to the beach as a family, we'd collect like seashells. And in the Caribbean, when you dive, there's some very pretty things. They're about this big, we used to call them in Montserrat, I know, sand dollars or sand dollars. And they're really nice. They're made out of sand and it looks almost like a flat shell. Beautiful. I used to collect those as well. At one point I had like a rock collection. So I've had different hobbies throughout the years. When I came to England first, I used to collect wine decanters. So I would go around to all of the charity shops and buy those little wine decanters. So there's so many different hobbies that you can get interested in. Right now I write. I have actually finished. I love Christian fiction. I love Karen Kingsbury. I also like Laurie Wick and Francine Rivers, and I read a lot. I can get through those thick novels. I've got one here that I read. This is Diane Gist, that I read her novels as well. A friend of mine sends them over from America for me sometimes, and I can get through, if you see the size of this, like 2 of these a week. And that's along with all of the things that I do, like my housework and looking after the kids, looking after hubby and the family. So that's another hobby that I have. I write. I always wanted to write a novel, and it took me like a good 2 to 3 years, and I wrote a 300-page Christian fiction novel set in Antigua, and I want to make it a trilogy. So I want to do another one that's set in Montserrat, and another one that's set in Barbuda, which is Antigua's sister island. And I've finished one, so I'm trying to type it up and edit it. I hope to pop it on Amazon, self-publish and pop it on Amazon. And that's another hobby. So I write Christian fiction, and like I finished last week a short story for children, you know, aimed at my daughter. Not really intending to publish it at all. There's a little prayer that I do with my daughter that I wrote for her, I created for her. Because when I have my children, I usually make up a little song that I would sing to them all throughout their first 2-3 years of life, sing to them to help get them to go to bed. And I wrote a little prayer. So my daughter, my 5-year-old, I wrote it for her. She knows it by heart. It says, "I am a British princess. I'm as pretty as can be. My mom, dad, brothers and sisters all love me. Jesus is my savior and I'm the apple of his eyes. Please, Jesus, love and keep me every day of my life. Please bless my family and everyone in need. Please protect my life, Lord. In Jesus' name I plead." And that's a little prayer that I wrote for her, that I printed out, typed up, printed out, stuck up on her wall, framed it. And I wrote a little story for her based on that prayer. And I've not read it to her yet, but I do plan to read it to her. I finished it last week, that I want to post just on Wattpad or something. So I've got different little hobbies that I do. I do blogging is another hobby. I've got Instagram pages, a few, and I've got blogs. They just coincide with the Instagram pages, so I'll post the same thing basically across the different platforms. I've got it on Tumblr. I've got the Best Me 360 on Tumblr. I've got it on Pinterest. I've got it on WordPress. I've got it on Twitter, Instagram, on Facebook. So that's another hobby that I've been doing for the last maybe 1.5 to 2 years. So all of those things keep me really busy, but I still have not found, because my son, he really likes superheroes. He likes Marvel and DC characters, and I absolutely love superheroes. I go to the cinema usually with my husband and we watch all the movies. We take the kids, we watch them at home. We'll have movie nights. We like the Fast and Furious movies, the Step Up Dance movies. We like the DC superhero movies. We like Marvel and all of that loveliness. So that's what he's into. He likes the video games, and he likes watching these people that play video games on YouTube. And I've been trying to find a hobby. something that he can do that doesn't involve watching TV or playing a video game or watching YouTube, just something that he can do. I was thinking stamp collecting, but I can't see getting him into stamp collecting unless I force him, which I don't want to. I want to find something that he might like. I think at some point I saw that Marvel or DC, they have like these cards that you can collect. So I'm going to do some research and see if that's something that he might be interested in, like collecting those cards. And I was thinking for my little girl, she likes Shopkins. Maybe I can look for like those collector cards of the different Shopkins, and maybe she can do a collection of that, get a really nice folder that they can collect the cards in, like a card folder, you know, those collectors ones. So if you have any ideas or tips on hobbies that younger children might be interested in, please pop your ideas or your tips or your suggestions in the comments below, because I'm really trying to find hobbies that I can get them engaged in that doesn't require them being on any form of device or media, just something that they can sit and do that just breaks up, you know, all of the time on telly or watching YouTube, because everybody in my house likes YouTube videos. I'm sure lots of people all over the world like them as well. And so that's just my chats with Nads, my ideas and my thoughts on hobbies. So please remember, if you've not got anyone to check in on you, or you've not got anyone to check in on, please drop me a comment below in the comment section and say hi, say I just want to check in, see how you're doing, and I will get back to you just to offer you a kind word, an encouraging comment, you know. Let me know if I can support you in any way, if you'd like me to message, to just say hello, hi, how are you doing? And from my house to your house, continue to take care, continue to stay safe, be mindful, sprinkle kindness as often as you can, check in on your friends and family that you've not connected with for a long time. Make a connection, share joy. At this time and in this world when we can be anything, I encourage you to be kind. Alright, so you take care, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.